Namaste, viewers, and welcome to this special session of Amazing Vedas with Dr. Pariksith Singh. Thank you, Dr. Singh, for joining us today. As you know, it's Sri Aurobindo's birthday, it is India's birthday, it is also the birthday of Vande Mataram. And all these three auspicious concurrences, in a sense, prompt me to ask you, request you rather, to give your own, and I would say our own, because I will also join you in offering that soul fire, that ahuti of the Agni within to this larger yagya that we are all so fortunate to engage in. I know that you have written a special poem and it's almost like a mantra to me. So I request you to please read it and then we'll spend a few moments meditating on it.
एक प्राचीन यज्ञ। हे अग्नि, अपने को ढूंढते रहते हो उधर इधर, मैं बीच में किधर से आया? अपने में उंडेलते जाते हो सर्वस्व, मैं तुम्हारे ही प्रकाश का साया। बस खोज हूं तुम्हारी ही, अस्तित्वहीन अभिशप्त, तुम ही से तप्त, तुम ही की काया।
तुम्ही से तप्त, तुम्ही की kaya. Yeah, तुम्ही से kaya. It's beautiful. So please, if you can, before I offer my own observations or meditations, if you can give us the English version. I know we tried it out last time.
It'll be a very, very patchy one, but let me try. I wrote something here. Hey Agni, you're only looking for yourself here and there. How did I fit in? You pour all of yourself in yourself, and I am only a shadow of your light. Only an exploration of you without existence, burning with you, your own body.
Burning with you as you, your own body. You know, I don't want to flatter you here, though you deserve flattery once in a while. But it seemed to me a very modern, in a way, post-Eliotian version of that great prayer of the Gita, Brahmarpanam. So please, I want you to recite that today also.
Well, that is a one that really made me understand the yajna, and beautiful, two great masters, the Veda and the Gita, and Sri Krishna commenting on the entire corpus, giving us the summary. Om Brahmarpanam Brahma Havih Brahmagno Brahmanahutam Brahmaivaten Gantavyam Brahma Karma Samadhina. What a beautiful, amazing shloka.
So please explain this also now.
Brahma, the arpan, the very act of offering is Brahma. Brahmarpanam, Brahma Havi, the fire, and the Havi, what you put into it is the Brahman. Brahmagno, Brahma is the fire in which you pour the Havi. And the Ahuti, the one who is offering also is Brahman. Brahmaiva tena gantavyam, and this is absolutely beautiful. Through the Brahman, you move towards Brahma Karma Samadhi. The Samadhi that is part of Brahma Karma. All your action is itself Brahman. There is nothing outside Brahman. Through the Brahman, you accomplish the Samadhi of the Brahman, which is work. And so he calls it Brahma Karma Samadhi, which is an absolutely, because Sri Krishna is about Karma Yoga, Brahma Karma Samadhi. So that is how I understand it.
No, that is amazing, and that, as you said, is the encapsulation of the Veda in a manner of speaking, because it's to me a prayer of supreme non-dualism.
Yes,
Because the offering, the offerer, and that
yes,
to which the offering is made, they are all one. They're all Brahman.
yes,
And in my view, your poem reminded me of that, because what you're saying is, oh Agni, you see, when I look for you, when I seek to make an offering to you, I don't find myself. Where am I? I'm lost, because it's only you. And it is your body that is my body as well. And in my journey towards you, I lose myself. I lose my individuality, you see? And even my chattering mind goes silent, nishabd. I move into a realm of voicelessness and silence. And in the end, I become one with your body. And it reminded me of that great poem of Sri Aurobindo, Bride of Fire, when he says, now I'm ready, because I have nothing of my own left. I'm ready to embrace the Bride of Fire, because when you embrace the Bride of Fire, you have to be, willing to be burned to ashes. Of course, it's figurative. Please don't take any of this literally, because the Veda is full of symbolism. And we want you to be healthy and happy in the very body that we've all been fortunate to have, thanks to our parents, partly thanks to Brahman, because everything is Brahman. The environment, the food, the water, the air that sustained us, because it is in this body that you are going to attain Brahma Karma Samadhi. Am I right, Dr. Singh?
yes, sir. The body is the fit instrument of the divine. All our instruments, our prana, our mind, they are not to be looked down upon. They are fit instruments of the divine. We may see them as inferior, but they are the best, the most optimum, because created by us, for us, through that Agni. And Agni is present. Agni is eternally present. Everything we do, even the speech, Vak Agni, the thought, Vichara Agni, the Bhava Agni. I mean, so beautifully, Sri Krishna takes Indriya, even the senses, Jnana Agni. He talks about all kinds of Agni. And so you suddenly realize everything is just different manifestations of that original, what would you call it? Tapas. Tapas.
Chidagni Kunda Sambhuta,
Yes.
Deva Karya Samadhita. So, I said this especially for our, Gen Z, because the Vedic way is the life positive way. It is
Yes.
not the life negative. It doesn't negate earthly existence. It doesn't negate your daily life. It doesn't negate your daily struggles. Everything is accepted, but is meant to be purified and elevated. Uddaredatma, as the great verse in the Gita says, because that fire is within you. Use yourself to raise yourself, not to
Yes.
degrade yourself. And that is the message for Gen Z, because you have all the powers and potencies to do well in this world, to proceed, to move ahead, to achieve your goals. And the Brahma Karma Samadhi, the fruition of works through the righteous effort, that is the way of the Vedas. So the Vedas are not some boring book which is always telling you don't enjoy yourself, don't have a good time, don't hang out with friends, or don't go out dancing. No, everything is a part of the Vedic way. Nothing is excluded, you know and the supreme confidence that the Vedas give you is by recognizing that you are none other than the Supreme. So please tell us a little more about this poem and how it came to you, because if I remember the context, you said that you felt so close to Sri Aurobindo, that through that identification, suddenly the poem came to you almost like a mantra.
Yes. So Sri Aurobindo is, of course, the teacher for me, the guru, and it's a very interesting thing. Over the last, say, 40 years, we there's a great natural affinity, all focus on him and learning from him. Everything I learned on poetry, on the Veda, on the Gita, everything that little I know is from him. And then a few years ago, Sri Aurobindo, uh, while I had a severe illness, I heard during my walks where I was very short of breath, uh, I heard him. At least that's how I felt, and something changed. It's almost like something just broke, like a crystal breaking. So there is a constant sense of intimacy with him. It's as if he's always here. And so this sense of intimacy became very strong. And it was a very clear realization that whom I'm worshipping, that who I love is already here. And so even as the mother, divine mother whom we love, the divine mother is already here as the child. This is already the ansha of that. So I felt that this already is the mother who is loving herself in another way, or already Sri Aurobindo is seated here, seeing himself externally, but already here. So it was a great sense of intimacy, oneness, even you would say identification. And so that's how, using the symbol of Agni, I tried to explain. तुम अपने आप को ढूंढते रहते हो इधर उधर. But actually, I'm talking to myself. You're looking for yourself, hey Agni. And where did I come from? So it's you see, everything goes upside down. Who is talking to whom? It doesn't make any sense anymore. Am I outside talking to myself inside, or am I inside talking to myself outside? Which is outside, which is inside? So it was also in a sense, a poem of laughter, a quiet laughter, where you're pouring everything into yourself. So this name and form is trying to pour everything into something, but pouring into itself. Where are you pouring? And this whole sense of I doing that's just a shadow.
Exactly. Exactly. In fact, after coming in contact with you more and more, you said inside, outside, and it seemed to me also upside, downside. So, how's the world looking when you're upside down or downside up? And actually, it doesn't matter because, as we've seen together, the downside has its own upside, and it's
Yes.
only when we are so identified with the upside that we fail to see the great learning in the downside. Because as Richard Hartz was saying, he talked about the Vedic age being an age of great concentration, and then the subsequent ages, like even to some extent the Upanishadic age, but afterwards the great bhakti movement and all, being ages of diffusion, when things have to spread and diffuse. So in
Yes.
our own lives we have periods of great concentration and then of diffusion. So sometimes the downsides are periods of great concentration, it seems to me, because you have nowhere to go. You're hitting rock bottom, and actually at some point that the only way out now is up. So feeling that dissolution of the agency is itself, I think, a form of mukti. And those of us who are blessed to experience it from time to time, you know it's wonderful to feel you're just coasting along, on the lap of the mother, as it were, with nothing to do, and things are just happening. It's so smooth. And Raja Rao used to say to me, you know the guru is holding you and carrying you, you're not aware of it. And you reach some other place and suddenly you wake up and you say, oh gosh, did I make that long journey? And then you realize, no, you did nothing. It's the guru who carried you, like the mother cat carries the kitten across that wall of samsara, you see, which was the great metaphor in Cat and Shakespeare, the wonderful book that he wrote about, in a sense, Vishishta Advaita. So, Dr. Singh, I think the Veda illuminates our life, and through the Veda, we come back to Sri Aurobindo more enriched. I think we are capable of seeing in Sri Aurobindo things that we didn't notice earlier, perhaps. And that is how it's a mutually reinforcing journey. And after we recorded our last episode, somebody wrote to me and they said it is so important to go into the deeper reasons why even Sri Aurobindonians are not looking at his work on the Veda. And it made me think. So, if you have any thoughts on that, today is a good day to reflect on why the Aurobindonians also need to go back to the secret of the Veda.
I think what happens is deep love makes us very sensitive. So we adore Sri Aurobindo so much that we cannot allow any change in him, because now we have identified him with someone, a person who came and who lived and who passed away in 1950. But that is not Sri Aurobindo at all. Yes, of course, the physical, the great human being came and he lived, but he brought something, a light and understanding, and the great quest. All his life he was growing. He never stopped. That I've reached my realization, I'm done, and he kept pushing the barriers. He kept. You could almost say that the Sri Aurobindo of 1908, 1905 was not the Sri Aurobindo of 1915, was not the Sri Aurobindo of 1925, and definitely not the Sri Aurobindo of 1950. So he constantly outgrew himself. We create pictures of him. This is who he is. But he is like that Brahman. Brahman actually means the one growing. The process of growing is Brahman. Brahman is not a fixed thing. It's not a static thing. And so we need to realize he's dynamic, he's alive, he's one with the spirit of the nation. And yes, there is a great unity in him, but there's a tremendous multiplicity in him. So I think one of the ways that at least we, who are a little more iconoclastic, question him, we wrestle with him, we argue with him. But by wrestling with him, by arguing with him, we learn more somehow to copy his own, to take his own aphorism. If the divine does not come to you, wrestle him until you seize him, or something. Remember that famous aphorism? So sometimes if you call and he doesn't come, then you have to wrestle Sri Aurobindo. And I say it with deep love.
If I remember right.
Right?
Word he uses is embrace.
Embrace the divine. But there's another one where he says you should love the divine as if loving the body of a woman.
Yes.
And that tells you the intimacy, the deep connection, the deep oneness that you have with the divine. That intimacy. And
my point was that is the kind of oneness and intimacy we need to feel with the Veda as well.
Yes.
Because the point I was trying to make is that many times the Aurobindonians don't go to the Veda because it requires a certain engagement, which sometimes they don't want to undertake. And instead, it's just a kind of bhakti or devotionalism that seems the, so to speak, easier way out. But what I'm trying to say is that the Veda is as welcoming. The Veda is also our mother, and
I must tell you, the Veda actually clarified Sri Aurobindo to me. After 40 years, now I'm beginning to see what a tremendous contribution he made, and made it intelligible for us. The Veda talks about it. If you see from, say, the 4th to the 11th Suktam, it's all about Indra. But look at the powers of Indra. And you know who Indra is? Indra is our own awakened intelligence. Sri Aurobindo talks about it so much. Layers of layers of mind he talks about in his poems. You ascend from one layer to the other, poetry. But Indra, the Veda is describing him and how he is the creator of perfect form, Surupa Kritmam, and how he gives us light when he's full of ecstasy. And one by one, they give you all these descriptions, and suddenly Sri Aurobindo comes alive for you. Yes, exactly. Hold one idea, hold a perfect thought, and stay with it until it becomes reality. And suddenly, when I read Surupa Kritmam Utaye, the creator of perfect forms which will manifest in life, that's Sri Aurobindo. That's right? That's rich, the truth consciousness. A rishi in the Himalayas had a thought, and the French Revolution was born. This is Indra. This is the power of the mind to initiate with one focused, energetic, laser-like thought that manifests somewhere, somehow, and makes things happen. It is part of our Ashtasiddhi, so it's not unknown to our yoga. But Sri Aurobindo describes it beautifully, and when you read the Veda, it suddenly becomes crystal clear. So, to me personally, the Veda have shed light on Sri Aurobindo tremendously, and almost, all these different yogas. Swami Vivekananda became clear to me after what a great, far greater than we sometimes realize, what he accomplished for India. Just by holding a vision of the nation, holding that, no matter what, how much he suffered, he went through, but holding that vision, and over time, and he's gone, doesn't matter, the name and form are gone, but that vision is unfolding itself through us, through the nation. It's not done. And then you suddenly realize this is the power of their mind. They've used the mind. They've used that yogic Shakti. They have not rejected the mind. The mind is focused into one thing, and then something greater takes over. So I really believe people who are serious students of yoga, of Sri Aurobindo or the Veda, should try to read, if of interest, read one and the other, and suddenly things will become so much clearer.
Well said, Dr. Singh. So I think we should conclude our episode here, that the only Veda worth holding and knowing is the living Veda, and the living Veda is the Veda that you live, that you realize, and it's a continuous stream of wisdom. It is not something in some ancient books locked up. No, it's a perennial stream. And similarly, the only Sri Aurobindo worth holding and knowing is the living Sri Aurobindo, who beyond his body is a flame of consciousness. He's a flame of live consciousness. And like the great rishis, he's implanted these seeds. And that's how evolution happens, through these very powerful thought seeds which sprout suddenly and awaken us to our own higher potentialities. With those words, thank you, Dr. Singh, for joining us. Thank you, viewers. It's an auspicious day, so please tune in to whatever is available. Happy birthday, Sri Aurobindo. Happy birthday, India. Happy birthday, Vande Mataram. Please like, share, and subscribe to our channel, and see you soon. Namaste.